When I told my mom back in grade 12 that I got into McGill, I distinctly remember how ecstatic she was. As the beginning of my first year of university approached, and the eventual day when I would be moving to Montreal got closer, I remember my mom explaining a big reason why she was so ecstatic that I was going to McGill. She was extremely excited about the type of people with whom I would surround myself and the eventual alumni network that I would be a part of. I was 18 at the time, and words like alumni and alumni network and networking were so far off my radar. Fast forward years later, and as usually is the case, moms know best. The network that I have built and the social circles to which I belong, and I could care less how over the top this might sound, these relationships are the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Additionally, what's so beautiful about this network and these social circles is that so much of it came to be in an organic manner. These wonderful people that are in my life, they came to be there by us becoming friends, by us building a relationship and a connection and sharing many memories and laughs and just overall good times. These people are the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. From a mental health standpoint, like I talked about in the last video, me becoming depressed after university was, in large part, a function of no longer having all my friends around me and as a result, experiencing strong feelings of loneliness. It really showed me just what kind of a loss it was not having them around anymore. Again, from a mental health standpoint, expressing gratitude and being thankful for the things in your life does wonders. And my mental health has always benefited from taking the time here and there to reach out and check in on friends and to keep in touch, and even from time to time just writing down in my journal or on my computer just how grateful I am to have these people in my life. As much as I criticized myself and bullied myself and even at times wanted to hurt myself during my period of depression, even then, one thing that I was always proud of was how much I loved my friends and how little I took it for granted and how I took the time to reach out and check in. I strongly believe that one of the best things that you can do for your mental health is to reach out to your friends and loved ones and tell them what they mean to you and how thankful you are for having them. So, without further ado, I'm going to do a bit of that right now. Thank you to one of my best friends who I met on the first day of res, and we bonded over the fact that we had both worked at summer camps and that we had this shared love and passion for Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. You know who you are. Thank you to another one of my besties for wanting to continue at Tremblant that one day when everyone else was too tired, and you and I, we properly bonded for the first time on those chairlifts. You know who you are. Thank you to those same two guys for pitching money and air miles points to fly me to Minneapolis for a weekend last April so we could all hang out. You know who you are. Thank you to another one of my besties and former roommate for sharing a love of hip-hop and basketball and for being my number one go-to for concerts. And especially for that time, we gave Danny Brown a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos at his concert. You know who you are. Thank you to another bestie out in California doing his PhD. Thank you for being in pretty much every psych class with me at McGill and for watching our two personalities become more and more similar because of all the time we spent together. And thank you for giving me someone to look up to academically. You are the smartest person I've ever met. Ever. And trying to keep up with you helped me raise my tolerance for success so much. Thank you. Well, you know who you are. Thank you to another bestie who, whenever we're together, we're just always smiling and giggling and laughing, and who's always there to make fun of me whenever I mess up, and who over the years has proven time and time again to be beyond reliable and dependable. And I also look up to you so much, and your work ethic and your drive and your dedication, and trust me, all that will pay off and already is paying off. And kid, you're gonna move mountains. You know who you are, and I am so proud of you. And I also can't wait for all that free physiotherapy that you're gonna hook me up with down the road. Appreciate it. Thank you to another bestie who followed me in the water as we tried to make it out to those paddle boats. And of course we slipped, and of course we fell in the water, and of course we had our phones and our wallets in our pockets. And thank you for answering the phone when I've been going through stuff, and for making me feel comfortable enough to express my emotions to you and to cry to you over the phone. It means the world. You know who you are. And of course, if you can find some time in between all those errands that you're always running to watch this video, that'd be awesome. Thank you to another bestie out in New York with whom I've had some of my favorite conversations and laughs, and of course, one-liners. Jackson, Tyson, Jordan. You know who you are. Thank you to another bestie out in Van who will always be a go-to from deep life chats to conversations about literally like nothing. And as always, I hate your puns. They're not funny. They infuriate me. Stop making puns. You know who you are. Thank you to another bestie, also out in Van. Thank you for picking me up from the airport those times that I visited Van, and for letting me crash. And in first year for trying to teach me that one dance move, the popping dance move that I still can't do. You know who you are. And tell your parents also that I say hi. Outside of McGill, thank you to one of my besties from camp with whom I'm going to be traveling with in 2019. You know who you are, and you're one of my favorite people out there. I can't wait. Thank you to one of my besties from high school. Meeting you and quickly bonding with you on our high school soccer team changed my high school experience so much for the better. And I will never forget when we saw Into the Wild together in theaters and were the last two to leave because we were so blown away by what we had just seen. I love you so much. You know who you are. And nah, it's still not open. Thank you to my childhood bestie, all the way back from our days of playing tennis together when we were 8 years old. Thank you for those Saturday afternoons back in high school when we would go check out our favorite clothing stores and boutiques around Spadina and Queen. And thank you for introducing me to your roommate 2 summers ago when I was living in Toronto. Amazing times with both of you, just hanging out and talking and just listening and chatting about hip-hop. You know who you are, both of you. Thank you, and tell your mom I say hi too. Everyone from McGill, from outside of McGill, from Res, from Gardner, everybody, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your lives. There was no way that I could mention everybody, but regardless, you guys all know who you are and know that I love you and that I am so grateful to have you in my life. Before I went to study abroad in Amsterdam in my third year, I had so many of you sign this tank top. I still have it and I'm wearing it today. One last thing to say about the power of friendships for your mental health. I have such talented and ambitious and hardworking friends that are currently doing and that will continue to do amazing things. And in a lot of ways, I would get so intimidated by them and would always feel like I could never keep up and that I would never be able to come close to what they would accomplish in their lives. When I was depressed and couldn't get out of bed and was just trapped in the negativity of my thoughts, I felt like such a failure, in large part because of how big I felt the gap was between what they were doing with their lives and where I was currently at. These days, I can't stress how happy I am that I have friends that I look up to and that motivate me, and maybe without realizing how much they motivate me until now, that motivate me to strive and to dream and to want to make something special out of the time that I have on this planet. You are such a function of your immediate environment, and being part of an environment that motivates you to be better, it doesn't get much better than that. Last thing, if you've watched Good Will Hunting, I'm referencing it again, there's a scene where Ben Affleck's character, Chucky, is telling Matt Damon's character, Will, to basically man up and take the jobs that he's been offered, and that if he doesn't, it would be an insult to people like him who would kill to have the gifts that Will has. Chucky then tells Will that the best part of his day is when, for about 10 seconds every morning, when he goes to pick Will up from the walk to the car to the house, he hopes during that walk, during those 10 seconds, that Will isn't there because he's moved on and gone off to pursue the life that he can have, that he's no longer holding himself back. That scene is how you want to feel about your friends. You not only want the best for them, but you will be so upset at them and won't hesitate to call them out if they're not living up to their potential. If they are holding themselves back, you will not hesitate to go and give them that push that they need. I've had friends call me out, and it's tough, but it's awesome. And I've called friends out, and it's tough, but it's awesome. One of the best parts of your day should be seeing your friends being all that they can be. Not only will they thank you, but so will your mental health.